on 276.
Okay. All right. What's going on, everyone? Dr. Todd and Danny from MoveNow University and Gonstead Spine and Wellness. And we're here at my home office podcasting, which we've been wanting to use this forever. Danny finally said, I'll just come over and we'll just do this for real. This is episode 276. I have iTunes pulled up here. 275 is the last one we did, April 10th, 2021. It's been a minute. So this is the MoveNow Chiropractor. We're going to tell you what we're up to, what we've been up to. And if you've never heard of us before, we're going to talk to you about why you should know what we're all about. Here's what so many chiropractors have been searching for. How can we expand our clinical reach by finally addressing more than just the segmental component with our patients, but at the same time, not feel like we are selling out our chiropractic principles? The reality is our patients count on us to guide them. And when it comes to results, we must also address their posture and their movement. The verdict is out. Patients have spoken, and this is what they want and what they need, focusing on functional movement and corrective exercise. So how do we practice in a way where our community is engaged, excited, and seeking us out because of this comprehensive, results-based approach? That's the goal we've all been searching for, and this podcast will show you how. My name is Dr. Todd Pickman, and welcome to the MoveNow Chiropractor. All right, so that's our intro. You just heard the intro. That kind of tells you what we're about if you haven't ever heard of this podcast before. The little tagline that we had printed up on a big banner when we were going in person before COVID happened and we were actually doing events, we were flying around the country and doing this right before you joined the team, Danny, is it said, we teach chiropractors how to implement functional movement and corrective exercise in 12 weeks or
a
something.
Fully functioning functional movement department in 12 weeks.
And that sounds way better than what I just said. Okay, cool. All right. So that's what we do, but why would someone want to even know what this is?
Nobody's ever heard of it before.
Okay. So I mean
no, it's never been incorporated in any systems in any other chiropractic offices before.
Okay, so quite like we do it as far as addressing segment, posture, movement. There's lots of chiropractors that have exercise in their office. But from the doctors that you talk with, because you are the doctor support, you are the office manager in our clinic, so you see it from both ends. You talk to other doctors, you talk to their staff, you work with their teams. What are the things that you see in the doctors that have exercise already? What's missing?
Systems.
Okay, systems. Mm-hmm. Like yesterday when we did an interview with our new gal that's worked in chiropractic for a while, who's joining our team, which we're really excited about. She was talking about how much she loves the place she's at now because of the systems. Mm-hmm. And she's looking for a deeper clinical approach for patients, and she's excited about that.
Yeah, a more well-rounded approach.
And so it's almost like if we could have interviewed her yesterday on a podcast and just had that, I think that would have been so impactful for chiropractors to see from like a staff perspective.
Yes.
And mind you, something that I told her, and I'll make really clear, definitely wasn't bashing other methods of chiropractic, wasn't saying if you want to be an adjustment-only clinic, that's wrong or that's bad. I mean, that's where I came from for my first 8 years in practice. I'm going on 19 and a half years at this point, almost 20. And something that I told her, and I'll say again here, is that once you see these different ways of addressing things, you can't unsee it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like once you know how to address this and be more comprehensive and get better results, you can't go back to practicing the way that you used to practice.
Right.
Okay, well, the goal of this first podcast is to be a little short and sweet. We're going to try to keep these, I don't know how long they're going to be. I don't know. I mean, they might be a Joe Rogan podcast that are 3 hours long. Who knows? Probably not. But we will have guests that we can call in. So like we can have someone join us on the phone. We have lots of experts that we work with that we use their services in our clinic. And so we promote it, not for the sake of promoting, but because it's part of our systems. It's how we work. Like we work with Smart Injury doctors, Dr. Jeff Kronk. We work with Cash Practice, Dr. Miles Bodson and Holly. Awesome. We use ChiroTouch, but they don't like to do any promotion or anything with us. So shame on you, ChiroTouch, if you're listening. And we use Review Wave. We started using Review Wave, which has been awesome. And then our phone system. What's our phone system?
It's through Citricom.
Citricom. Okay, so that's linked up. And in some of these podcasts, we'll talk technical on like, our actual systems and stuff.
Yeah.
We use Dr. Perry Barnhill with the
Fearless Chiropractor.
Fearless Chiropractor. Man, I was drawing a blank. Sorry, Perry. So Dr. Perry Barnhill has been awesome for compliance and coding and billing stuff and insurance audits and and HIPAA and all that sort of thing. And then who else do we use? Stroops.
Yeah.
Stroops. So Sean Harker out of Utah, Stroops for a lot of our functional fitness stuff. We just got a really cool new piece of equipment. He calls it something, I don't remember the name of what he calls it, but it's like a functional postural. You basically walk on a self-propelled treadmill, and there's a 10-foot 3D frame built around it where you can strap people and pull them into various postures as they walk to reprogram the motor control part of posture, which is really awesome. So Stroops, and also Stroops is the one that manufactures our neck traction unit. And who else do we work with? As far as X-ray, work with Mary X-ray. As far as that's who got our X-ray. Can't tell you I'm thrilled with the service end of things, but if you need X-ray equipment, and that's Matt Grippy. Matt Grippy's always been awesome. He's a retired upper cervical chiropractor and got into X-ray sales. So if you need a digital X-ray, Matt Grippy is the guy, and we can give you info on that. So like basically everyone that we talk about and we promote are people that we've used.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Blue Link out in Florida.
Yeah.
So Blue Link does all of our computer like upkeep on a regular basis. So monthly, if we have a problem with our server, they get on and they work on it. So we'll have someone come in locally for the hardware end, and they're the ones that do everything on the software end. And they've been awesome. So Blue Link. And the reason we went with Blue Link is because we learned about them from Posture. Posture is our X-ray marking system we use for chiropractic biophysics. And Tammy and Ken at Blue Link are also the support for Posture. So we heard about them from Dr. Joe Ferrantelli from Posture Screen Mobile, which is the app we use for taking digital posture. Let's see. I'm trying to just figure out if there's anyone else in this whole circle. As far as kettlebell training, Strong First. Zara Horton's a good buddy of mine. We've had chiropractors that we've recommended and gotten them to go off to Strong First seminars so they can get certified. And just this last weekend, Emily, our exercise therapist, traction, kind of everything. Like if you came to our last impact event, she helped teach the impact event.
Yep.
And she went for 2 days of training with kettlebell stuff and absolutely loved it. And she's been teaching patients with kettlebells for over a year now, but learning from Zara is always a nice refresher.
Yes.
Anyone else? Is that pretty much, I think we got most of it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, well.
Unless you want to give a shout out to your dad for all of our amazing
Oh
spreadsheets
my goodness.
and formulas.
And he probably won't ever listen to this podcast, but yes, thank you for my dad, who's 84 years old, who now lives 2 doors down from me with my mom. They moved here from New Mexico about 4 months ago, and my dad's always logged in remotely and helped with this Excel spreadsheets and looking at reports and just helping behind the scenes. So he works pretty closely with Danny now, which is cool. But Danny does the office manager thing, and she does it really, really well. But honestly, if you had a choice of doing full-time office manager or full-time working with other chiropractors, what would you rather do?
Work with other chiropractors.
Why is that?
I just love helping them get their systems implemented. I love working with their staff. I love educating them on what we do and the importance of what we do. This is a program that I really believe in after seeing so many other programs over the last 18 years. This is the one that I really, truly believe in, and I want all these other chiropractors out there to know about it. I want to teach them about it. I'm passionate about it.
Awesome. That's a good answer. Yeah, so tell us a little bit. Here, I'm going to totally distract you and point out to everyone that we have this taped, and there's a hair on your microphone.
Yep.
Which is not your hair. It's probably one of our dog's hairs. Sorry about that. But if you're watching this on video, because we have this on video too, for those of you that saw the hair, you're like, oh, thank you for doing that. So, those of you on audio are like, what the heck are you doing? So tell us a little bit about your history in chiropractic for those of you that are just hearing about you right now. Danny.
Sure. Yeah. So in October, I will be going into my 18th year working alongside chiropractors. I've been working with chiropractors from California to Idaho. A lot of it was kind of consulting, going in, fixing systems, training their staff, helping other chiropractors kind of get things cleaned up, and then I would move on to the next one. And so I found Dr. Todd 2 years ago. Initially interviewed for a office manager position. Just wasn't in the cards at the time. And then a couple of months later, he texted me and asked me if I was interested in doing outreach and doctor support for MoveNow. And the rest is history.
Yeah. And then what happened is we had a big need to have her help out with office managing. Initially, what we tried to do was make it completely like self-governed management type of stuff. And it was a system that Danny really helped us put together, which we did it through Asana, which is like a project management app where people would have checklists. They'd check off their own stuff. They get incentivized with a bonus every week if they checked off all their stuff. Yep. And it was basically a way for them to be in control of themselves, right?
Yep.
And that has worked really, really well. There was a need for Danny to definitely be in a manager role because when all the, lovely unemployment support by our amazing government officials came in place, people don't want to work. Nope. So our people on our team now are the amazing ones that have stuck with us, but we've had a couple of like the superficial people, and like superficial meaning like not as deep and well-rounded as our current team. Some of them come and go, and we're always looking for those new like one or two people to complete the team.
Yep.
And so Danny's been doing interviews and ultimately our team is a little smaller than it was a couple of years ago, and things I think work better with less people in some ways.
Yes, I definitely think the staff that we have right now is really strong. And what Jenna and I were talking about yesterday with this new hire that we just brought on is that everybody in the office is willing to learn different departments. So they're very universal, and everybody's a utility player. So we work very well together, and everybody helps each other out instead of saying, that's not my job.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah. It's kind of, and that reminds me of a story that I heard back in the day. Like my background in chiropractic is Gonstead. I started up in Gonstead, was exposed to chiropractic biophysics about 8 years in, and then realized there was a third missing piece, which was measuring and fixing movement. So then we built out all the movement stuff and functional movement, and MoveNow was born. So the Gonstead thing in that story, I remember there was a story, Dr. Gonstead, one of the most famous chiropractors in chiropractic. And there was a story about the clinic was packed full and patients are waiting, and Gonstead's like in the bathroom plunging a toilet, right? And the whole moral of the story is like everyone was a team player. No one would say it's not my job. And so some of those core principles and core values are the things that we do with our team, and we help teach with other chiropractic clinics.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so ultimately, this is just our welcome back podcast. Hopefully this was a little glimpse of getting to know what we're about. I think like just in summary, it's the reason that we even started MoveNow wasn't really intentional. It was we put systems together for our own clinic. We wanted better clinical results. We wanted better flow and systems for our patients and our staff and for our community. That was the number one goal. And then it got attention. Other chiropractors started seeing what we were doing. We were posting stuff up on Facebook. We were sharing some of the things we were doing. And so initially we had a couple chiropractors fly out. It was more than a couple, but they'd fly out and they would say, can I see in person what you guys are doing? So they'd come out, they'd observe for a day or two, and there was no way they were going to be able to really absorb what we're doing because there's so many little moving pieces to it. So then it moved into chiropractors saying, can I hire you to teach me this stuff? And I'm at the time I was practicing more days per week, so there's no way I had time to do it. So instead, for a couple of years, I just didn't sleep, and I made videos every single weekend, every single waking moment. And we built this thing, which was basically like a video guided, here's our form, here's our procedure, here's how we do it, here's the clinical stuff. And that's how MoveNow University started. Yep. And then we did our first webinar. I remember on my wife's birthday, May 18th, 2017. And we had some people join the program, and I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. We're off to the races. And then we started working with doctors, and there was a lot of little things in hindsight we could have done better. We could have engaged people better early on. In my mind, I thought, okay, it was just a program. We were going to put it out there and you use it. And if you do well with it, great. And if not, whatever, I'm busy and I got to go back to practice. Now it's a different approach. Now it's, if you join MoveNow University, we take you by the hand. We want you to implement. We want you to get this thing going. And Danny does a lot of one-on-one with doctors and their teams every week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so maybe like closing out, finish up and just summarize for them. Like, let's say there's a chiropractor that says, hey, I'm an adjustment only clinic. I do a little bit of E-stem and, you know, some basic like rehab stuff. And I have a space, or I have a small space, or I'm getting a space and I want to do functional rehab. I want to do a movement assessment and I want to address movement. I want to address maybe curves and posture and be more comprehensive. Let's say they join this. Mm-hmm. How does that process look like as far as dealing with you?
So when a doctor first joins the MoveNow program, we do an onboarding call, which I get a little bit more of their history and their goals moving forward, a little more in depth than that initial phone call. And then we start to map things out of what the next 12 weeks of implementation is going to look like. The first 8 weeks, I meet with them once a week just to make sure that they're getting their systems in place and they don't fall off track. And then after that, I will meet with them every other week until implementation. If we decide early on that 12 weeks is just not ideal for them, they need more time, then we will go ahead and map out what that time frame is going to look like to make sure that we stay on track. If they need, 4 or 5 months to get it done, we'll map that out so that way they stay on track. I check in with them weekly. We meet on Zoom. I kind of call it their virtual classroom. And then I send them off with homework every week. They have to go through and complete some things, check in with me throughout the week. And then when we meet on Zoom again, I give them a little bit of a quiz. And then we talk about what they're going to be doing the next week and the things that they need to complete. I also meet with their staff members if they have staff. A lot of members typically are solo or they're looking for staff members, so I help them along with that as well. If they do have a full-on team, I meet with them. If they need some one-on-one with their front office staff, I will set up times separate from meeting with the doctor to do that. And I walk them through their implementation process, whether it's 12 weeks or it's 6 months. I make sure that they get to that end goal. And then when they do, high five, and then check in with them periodically. If they have questions, they can still check in with us. The support doesn't end after 12 weeks.
Awesome. And that's all included in joining. So it's helping you get to the point where you are sufficient. And on top of that, we have 2 in-person events every year. Our last one was in April. Yeah. And our next one, I'll be honest, we have not set the date concrete, but it's likely going to be in October. And since I've been off the grid quite a bit for the last year because we've been focusing a lot in our clinic, and honestly, I've just changed gears a little bit in the last year, and I'm ready to get back to where I was in the previous 4 or 5 years. Yeah. So that's why we're doing this podcast again, and we're going to get this going, and we're going to be doing all kinds of exciting stuff. Like in a little bit, we have a videographer that's actually coming over to my house. His name is Illy. He's going to be working with us. He's going to help us with editing so we can get more stuff out quicker because editing takes a long time. I was doing it all myself before, and I just don't have the time. And so what else? We're starting a reality show in our clinic. Yeah. That's going to be fun. Yep. So we're going to be taking footage and giving it to him twice a week. And we're going to try to have 2 little reality shows twice a week that can be fun for chiropractors to watch, fun for patients to watch, kind of a learning experience to see the flow, like hear patient testimonials, like live stuff, not, sit down and tell me how this has helped you. It's just like patients in getting adjusted, be like, hey, we're doing our show. We'll have to figure out a name of it. You want to be on camera? Yeah, I'm fine. Right. And then we just throw them on camera and they start rolling and it's just real.
Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. It's real.
Yeah. Anyway, so it'll be a ton of fun. Anyway, so with that said, we're right under 20 minutes right now. So I think we'll wrap it up and we'll try to make this a 20-minute podcast. So Danny, thanks for coming over to the actual home studio in person, not through Zoom, actually real life. Yeah. And with that said, we'll roll the outro. There's some important links in there if you haven't heard it before. So don't just scan through it, listen to the outro. And make sure, if you haven't already, you turn on notifications or subscribe on iTunes or like whatever. I don't even know what all this stuff's called, but just do all that so you can follow this and you can see our next episode. And we will talk to you real soon. Want more MoveNow secrets? If so, then go get your copy of my best-selling book and watch my 30-minute behind-the-scenes MoveNow demo. My book is called Move Well Secrets, and you can get your free copy at book.movenowU.com and watch the 30-minute demo of our exclusive doctor training portal at demo.movenowu.com. With these two resources, you'll find my top 22 secrets that we've used to build one of the smoothest running, results producing, and super profitable exercise departments within a chiropractic clinic in the entire profession. All right, we're still here. Bye.
Bye.